Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome to Deborah's Money Journey. I want to thank you all for being here today. And I'm going to be doing a mid-month check-in. Now, normally I will share my budget. Sometimes I do a closeout. I haven't done one, I don't think, all year. Well, I did one in January. Take that back. But I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. But I thought, well, since we're kind of at that mid-month point, it's a little over mid-month, but I thought I would kind of come here and just kind of share with you an update, my progress, and just let you know how I've done this month with my spending and, what was surprising, what I've overspent on. There's going to be a lot of overspending and, so on and so forth. I do see a lot of people, they spend a lot of time on their budget and they have multiple check-ins throughout the week and they talk about goals and all of those wonderful things. And so I don't do a whole lot of that, but I would like to do more. So I thought it's April. We're at the midpoint or at least a little over. And so let's hop in and share with you how the month is going. If you're new to my channel, thank you first off for being here. I appreciate you for stopping by, and I hope you consider subscribing and joining me on my journey. All right, guys, so let's get into the budget. Oh, and I don't want to forget my good friends, my besties, those who have been rocking with me, watching all of my videos and supporting me. You all are the best, and I appreciate you immensely. Okay, so let's get started. So I think I'm going to be budgeting about $11,700. That would include $9,000 around that amount for payroll. I'm getting some of my sinking funds money pulled into this budget, mainly for taxes. So that's where that $2,500 comes from. And then rollover funds, $200. So my income that I budgeted was 11,700. So let's see how it's going. Okay. All right. So first, my fixed expenses. Now I have a mortgage that includes the taxes and insurance. It's all part of the one payment. And actually, my insurance was paid in March. So I'm not sure when I have to pay again, but that's how much. That is when I noticed the payment was made for that. Okay, so I paid $3,700.25. That's what I budgeted. That's what I paid. Okay, for my HOA, same thing. I budgeted $357.99. That is exactly what I paid. Okay, so Cal Electric, 165.19. My water was $48.75. And then my gas was $43.97. Those are my utilities. My car insurance has not been paid just yet. That's usually around the 23rd of the month. That's when that amount gets paid. I did pay my Spectrum. That was $71.25. And my life insurance, I budget 69. It's about 67.80. That is like the exact amount. So yeah, it's a dollar difference. So I'm going to start budgeting the amount a little better and closer to what I actually pay. And then my cell phones, I noticed that my number two phone, which is a phone that it was my original phone, and when I got my new phone, I wanted to keep that phone number. They wouldn't let me, so I just kept the phone with the number, and so I've kept it ever since. But it does come in handy to have a second number. Okay, and so I budgeted 149, but I spent $151.40 because of that increase. So that's a $2.40 increase. So far for April's fixed expenses, I budgeted $4,768 and I spent $4,606.60. And of course, as you can see, the difference would be the car insurance. So I think that is the only category That's very close to what I budgeted. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's go to the subscriptions. Now, this one is not too bad too. Okay, so SiriusXM, $7.99 was spent. Google memberships was $7. Microsoft Office, $9.99. I did get Netflix last month. That one I haven't paid yet. And because the account was set up by my son, I just send him the money. So I will send him that money within the next couple of days. And then we have Apple storage is $9.99. My water service was normally always $51.99, and it is now $59.94. I don't know why they went up, so I will have to call them to see what this price difference is because I don't want to pay more. I want to keep it around the same amount I'm used to paying, or I'm going to have to have some things cut from this. Okay, so that was a $7.95 difference. So my subscriptions budget was $94.96, and I've spent $94.91, which only leaves me with about 5 cents. So I'm definitely over in this category because of the water service. All right, let's move on to the variable expenses. So for groceries, I budgeted 600. I've already spent $616.20. And I already know I'm going to have to go to the store again because I need some items. And this is around the 20th of the month. So I still have, what, 10 more days? So I'm definitely going to need to go to the store again. So this one I'm going to go over, and I'm not surprised because food is definitely one of those categories. I am buying like more fresh fruits and vegetables. And my son, he does give me money for rent. So I use a lot of the money he gives me to pay towards groceries. So he wants, some of those protein bars and things that are a little more expensive than, just like a box of cookies or something. So he's trying to eat healthier as well. All right, so yeah, groceries, I definitely will be probably spending another $100 in that category, but I just have to be careful um, for the rest of the month. Okay, gas, budgeted 400 and I've spent $332.20. Again, I'm not surprised. Gas prices are out of control, and we all know that from one week to the next, we don't know what we're going to be paying. I have been trying to go to more economical gas stations. I find that if I go, maybe 5 to 10 miles away from my home, the gas is cheaper. And so right now, as it stands, I have $67.80 left in my budget, which will definitely be one more fill up. So I have to really be careful with my driving and not do a whole lot because I normally fill up about 2 times a week. That's what I've been doing because, again, of the amount of miles that I drive to get to work. All right, my allowance for myself, I gave myself $50. I have 50 left. I did get a car wash and I spent about $38. The car wash was, I believe, 32. And then I gave the person who washed the car a tip for the rest. And so I had $2 left over in this category. Okay, income taxes. So I budgeted 25, but I was definitely not expecting it to be this much. $2,982 is what I spent on my taxes this year. Wow. So that's a lot of money. I was over by $482. And so I did put this on a credit card, not really for the purpose of getting credit card points, because really not concerned about that. But I move the money from one bank account to the next, And I know that it's going to take a few days for that transfer to happen. So I wanted to make sure it was paid because I paid my taxes. So long story short, I got my taxes done. I submitted them and I thought I was done. So that was the 14th. And then the 15th came and I kept thinking, did everything go through? Because I don't have a receipt for the payment. So I let the 15th go by. Then on the 16th, I went back in and I saw that you have to go to another site to actually pay the taxes. Oh, I'm so mad because I might end up owing a little more money because I was late now. Oh, so that was my fault for not, I guess, reading and checking all the instructions. But yes, so I paid with my credit card because I had to get it done. And then I'm going to transfer that money to my checking account and then pay it. Um, I budgeted 25, so that means I'm gonna have to pull about $500 from another sinking fund. I don't want to do that, but I have no other choice, so I'm gonna have to finagle my money and figure out what to do with that. Okay, income tax prep. I budgeted 125. It was 179. Wow, these prices are just outrageous where they're charging so much for services and different fees. And then they kept asking me when I was doing my taxes, did I want to upgrade my plan? No, I don't want to upgrade anything. I was just fine doing this. But yes, 179. So that was $54 more than I thought I was going to have to pay. And then household supplies, I budgeted 50. I spent 55.91, so I was over about $5.91. I shouldn't need anything else until next month. So I think I'm good in that category. Eating out, I budgeted 200 and I've spent 163.02. Now, some of that is, or should I say most of this is stopping to get coffee in the morning on my way to work. Now, I do treat my son usually when I go get coffee. So, of course, if it was just me, it would be maybe, I don't know, $9 or $10 for the transaction. But normally I'm spending about 23, $25 a transaction. So because of that, it's definitely adding up. So, and then I went out to dinner on Easter. Okay. So we did go out and I treated one of my family members. I bought their dinner. So I put that amount in here. So that was 163.02. And I have $36.98 left in this category. Okay. And then I had to go get some blood work because I had a doctor's appointment. So my doctor wanted me to get blood work. I did that. That was $35. Then the next week I went to see my doctor. That was another $35 co-pays. So $70 was spent for those two visits. All right, I have not paid out my giveaway yet. Make sure you watch my video, not this last one, but the one before that, when I talked about my cash stuffing for retirement, because that is when I announced my giveaway, and there's still time to enter. All right, and then my car, I mentioned everybody, I had to get a battery. So that was $330. I pulled that money from my sinking fund. And so it was actually $309.87. That was the exact amount. And I have a credit coming to me. I just have to take the battery back to the auto parts store. I pass by it every day. So it's really something I can do. So I just need to get that done so that I can get that credit back. I think it's $18. And I want to do that before the month is out. So that's on my to-do list. All right, and then seasonal activities. I'm going to it's like a musical stage play with some of my friends. We're going to do that in the month of May, like the first weekend, but I already But you have to pay for your ticket early. So I paid for my ticket in April. And so that was $151. So I was over by $51 on that one. Okay, vacation. I did book my vacation, my mini vacation for the end of May. And so I just needed to put a $20 deposit on the hotel, which, very small, but that money is in my sinking fund. So I am just putting that down to keep track of what I've paid out so far. Okay. And then unbudgeted, I put $43.71 because that was kind of overage for the money I spent when I went out to eat on Easter. So I didn't want to like deplete my entire eating out budget. So I did use some of my unbudgeted money for that. So guys, I budgeted $4,955 and I spent $5,010.91, which it's only a $55.91 difference. And that is really the money for that ticket I bought. And I haven't given the $50 away yet. I actually am going to be giving away more than $50, but I'm just going to leave that blank for now until I actually do the giveaway. Okay, so my next category is debt. So far for my Discover, I have sent 350 to that card. For Sam's Club, I sent 325. And then my Wells Fargo card, $123.99. I think I was trying to get to an even number or trying to get under a certain, like instead of having like a $600 balance, I wanted to get to a $500 or something. So that's why the amount looks a little weird. But total debt was 550, and I put $798.99 towards my debt. That is $248.99 more than what I budgeted. So that's good. And I actually am going to be adding a little more money to my credit card debt. I just haven't those payments haven't cleared yet, so I will do that when we get closer towards the end of the month. But yes, almost $800, which is excellent. Okay, so moving on to my investments, I set aside $600 to invest. And so far, I have invested $350.25. So I have $249 to go. I better get busy investing. And then for my Roth, it was 300. I've already invested that. So my total amount I've invested is $650.25. And I have a difference of $249.75 left to invest. Of course, if I can do more, I am going to do more because I don't want to put a limit on how much I'm trying to invest because I have a hefty goal and I want to make sure I set aside space in my budget to have a buffer so that if I want to, add a little more here to that account or to Vanguard or SoFi, then I can use the funds that are in my buffer. All right, so the next category is my savings accounts. Now, I have moved money to my savings accounts. I just haven't reconciled everything. So I'm going to wait till the end of the month for that because I still have money to add to my savings accounts and my emergency fund. So $300 is what I budgeted so far. And then my sinking funds, my savings challenges, I do set aside about 425 is what I budgeted. I have sent $400 to those funds. I do plan to add a little more money to it, so it will be over 400. And then for my sinking funds, kind of the same thing with my savings. I am still, working on getting money to put towards my sinking funds. I have not stuffed my sinking funds yet, so I really don't want to count the money until I put the money in my envelopes and I transfer it to my online sinking funds. And a lot of that I wait until the end of the month to kind of get an idea of how much money I have moved into that account. So far it's just been the savings challenges, and I have $575 to go according to my budget to put towards my sinking funds, which I feel like that's not going to be a problem. I certainly will be able to save that much. Okay, so that was my mid-month check-in. That is how I have done for the month. The majority of my spending has been done. So I budgeted $12,543.72, and I've actually spent $11,466.75. And so I still have $1,076.97 in the budget to kind of get closer to my total budget, which again, I still have a few categories that I have to update, reconcile. I'm still going to probably go to the store and maybe get gas again before the month is out. It's not a maybe, I know I will. And so the month is looking good. I feel good about the budget. I am not happy that I had to pay, like a $400 difference on my taxes. But of course, I was just estimating it was going to be 25, and it was a lot more than I thought. So it is what it is. But in the long run, I feel good that the budget has been manageable. I haven't been, extremely over budget. So I'm going according to what I am budgeting. And again, I have a buffer. I have some wiggle room. If I have to pull some more money from my sinking funds, which it's not a if, I'm gonna have to. And so because of that extra money that I have to put towards taxes, my income will change for the month. But that is my April mid-month check-in. How are you doing with your budget? I hope your budget is cooperating. We put it that way. We know there's a lot of things to spend money on. Sometimes it's hard. And a budget is a blueprint. It just gives me an idea of what I'm spending, what I'm focused on. There's a whole lot of other things I want to do and buy, but I want to make sure it aligns with what my budget is for that month. This has worked very well, and I'm very pleased with the method of doing a spreadsheet and doing a monthly budget, because it really works for me and it keeps me on track. So guys, that's all the time I have. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week. Take care, and happy budgeting, everybody. Bye.